Please have out the items on the board. Mr. Smith, this gets really inconvenient. It either blocks my tools at the top or it blocks my tools at the bottom. This is no good. Yeah, this just makes it slightly challenging. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is remember your team roles, which you would need to likely potentially check back in your math journal to when you got on the team, and you should have written down what your current team role is. At your table group, you've got a reminder sheet on the team role expectations. Everybody's going to need a book to work in today. Everybody's going to need their toolkit out. We're really going to use it today. So I'll give you a second to get all those things. Then figure it out. If your role's not down, you guys got to figure it out at your team. You have like a minute to do so. Hey Mina, is there any way that I could borrow your math journal and show that as an exemplary in the class? If not, I've got a couple of you like math. Pull out your math journal for a second. Then pull out your toolkit. These guys are best friends. You just don't know it yet, and that's my fault. I owe you an apology. Hey Oliver, I would suggest putting your water on the ground. You're getting all sorts of water on your table. It's sweating. Can't wait to flannel. Your math journal and your toolkit should be best friends and should always be together. They are sad if they're without each other. And I'm sorry because that's been my fault. I haven't realized this. I'm learning how to teach this class. In your toolkit, go ahead and open to page 6-7, which is where your learning log stops. Now, I'm still kind of debating what we're going to use your learning log for. It's just kind of extra graph paper right now. Because we don't have enough to really use it for all the notes. But notice, all these math notes things correspond directly to what is in your textbook. So when you see math notes box in your textbook, it is in your math toolkit. So then, well, can you grab a seat for me, just since you're up front. If you're working on your homework, and let's say you're in your math journal, like I'm going to pretend here, I can have my toolkit right over here, and my formulas while I'm writing over here, and I don't have to be flipping pages back and forth. I can use my toolkit at the same time as using my journal. Now, here's the real point. We are going to start using your toolkit as the primary place to take notes. So today, and you'll see some things that we've been doing in the past, some jumping around. On last night's homework, we had some questions about scaling axes. Hey look, scaling axes, a nice easy reminder on how to do that. Then if you flip onto the next page, probability, vocabulary, and definitions. So everything we're going to be doing today, I'll get my focus back here in a second, hopefully. So what I need you to do is start taking notes in this. So right at the top, and I would actually maybe even go above where it says notes, like use this top part. What should we write? What should we write? The date, of course. So now I got to go like above my little recording bar. But our date, 9/6, all day long. We're in section 1, 2, 3. Kind of fun. And we are going to be modifying. Sorry, that's an NG. That kind of came out looking a little weird. Sample space. Now you might be thinking, well, okay, we're going to modify sample space, but dude, what is sample space? Anybody thinking like, well, okay. I'm just going to write it down, but I don't really know. Notice, right there. in your toolkit, without you having to write down a definition, it defines sample space. When I flip a coin, my sample space consists of a heads and a tails. When I roll a regular die, my sample space consists of a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6. So sample space is your possible outcomes. Probability, experimental, theoretical, it reviews all that important vocab there. So as we're going through the lesson and we talk about theoretical probability, you're like, crap, which one's that again? Just glance at your toolkit. Because I had this revelation last night when I was literally like putting tools away. I was organizing and stocking my workbench area because I brought a bunch of tools back from Coshocton. My father-in-law and my grandpa, they like to give me tools now. I don't know why. But I'm starting to fill up. So I'm like setting up my toolkits. I'm like, crap. The toolkit that my kids have, they're not using at all. You've got like all these wrenches and hammers and all these things. That's metaphorically. But you're not using any of them. You're just like trying to like solve the problem. Just like use your tools. Pick up the hammer. Get the wrench. Look at the vocab. You know, make the metaphor, whatever you're saying. So this should be used in tandem with your math journal. Let's look at what an exemplary math journal looks like. So today you're going to use this and take your notes here. If you run out of space, then jump over to your math journal. But your first notes are going to go here in the toolkit. Some of you have progressings on your math journal, which on your math journal it will say check minus, but then I decided to make it a master grade in math, so check math. Some of you have progressings. Mina was bold enough to let me use her journal to show as an exemplary. So I'm going to review what your journal should look like as we move forward. So remember, as we're talking in foundations, multiple intelligences, Mina picked up on this quicker than you. That doesn't mean you're like, oh, Mina. She can help you if you need. So this is not one of those, like, oh, you're better than me, I'm going to be mad at you. Like the art picture that we talked about with the kid with the painting. So Mina went out on a limb here. She's taking a risk. But one of the things I learned in college, it's perfectly fine to copy somebody's notes. So if my note-taking skills are not as good as Mina's, and after class I'm like, hey, can I borrow your notes so I can copy them? I'll get them back to you like right after Hale or what. Like, if she's nice enough to let me do that, that's awesome. Know your skills, know your weaknesses. My weakness was taking notes. I copied a lot of friends' notes. First day we talked about brains, and then we made our numberless graph. I love this. Slow, fast, short, and tall. So she put a lot of different animals on here. Elephant, pretty tall, but on the slower side. So, after that, we're dating. I told you guys to call this day one because it was really our first day of math class. We have our textbook number. We have our teammates. We have the game that we played with Colorama. We figured out that it was rigged. Then, as we changed days or sections, she's drawn a little line across. So since this turned into homework, she just drew a line across. Now, it would be really great if you made a little notation, like homework or practice or something, but we're still learning. So then I realized over here, oh, 11, 12, 13, this is her homework assignment. So then I was able to find it and give her a check on the homework. And as questions have multiple sections, you need to section it off. So if question 13 has part A and part B, don't just write them together in one big paragraph. Section off. This is 13A. That's 13B. Answer them separately. Then the homework finishes on the back. You can use backs of papers if you want. I don't really like using backs of papers because I write kind of heavy. Day 2, we were collecting data, doing some division, writing down some conversion factors. Remember, she's got a date. We get into more specific labelings. So, like the next day, I gave you guys a specific labeling, date it, label it, how big is a million, all this stuff. Are we kind of starting to see what we want our journals to look like? Yeah. Now, it doesn't need to be identical. I would put this number in the margin. I just like using my margin, and I like my page to buffer up against the left-hand side. I would set a couple things up differently. Doesn't mean you need to. And then, even after I graded it, well, there's still a lot of this page left. So she just went right on using that page and kept numbering, kept labeling, and she's got all her homework and everything else. If you, now I don't want to like put me on, but I mean, Zach, your journal was awesome too. There were a couple other people. Don't think that if I didn't choose you, your journal wasn't great. There were a lot of good journals in this class. Mina's was awesome. And she's in my advisory group, so I know her a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, I could probably ask her if I can borrow the journal. So if you need help, talk with your peers. Ask them like, hey, are you good at journaling? How's your if you know that's a weakness of yours, work to get better at it. I can help you too, but I know peer to peer is slightly easier. So today we're going to be working in our toolkit. So please keep this out and then get out your textbook. We are on page 38. 38. Oh, I had a couple questions about the homework last night when it says you do this and replace it with the marble bag. Let's talk about that really quick. All this means, remember, this homework isn't due today. It would be due tomorrow. So you still got a little bit of time to get it done. All that means is I have my bag with 10 marbles. I pick a marble out, I look at it, but if I set it on the table and then I keep picking, and I do this 50 times, I will have run out of marbles a long time ago. I cannot do something 50 times. Now, on top of that, not replacing the marble creates a couple other issues, but we'll get to those issues. When we normally do probability, we do it with replacement because that keeps the total the same. Keeps my chances the same, and it stops me from running out of marbles. So what that means is every time you pull it out, look at it, you put it back in the bag. And that's all we're going to talk about with that for right now. So you should be on 1, 2, 3. I am going to try as much as possible to start working to be as hands-off as I can. But to do that, your groups have to work really efficiently. So when I release you guys, do a reminder of who has what role, and if you can't figure it out, just choose. We'll assign roles at one point, but you're still allowed to choose what you're comfortable with. Then, whoever wants to read out loud for the group can, or if your group decides, let's all read this silently, you can do that. Then we're going to start working through all these problems. Our goal is to get through at least problem 78. 79 is kind of an additional challenge. Here's the deal with when we split off and work as teams, though. You can work pretty efficiently. Please don't rush, though. If you get done with the entire lesson materials and there's time left in class, what do you think you could use that time for? Your homework. So this is the perfect opportunity to get some of your practice work done after classwork. The other reason that I'm switching to using these guys in tandem, your math journal, and Alex, I have yours right here. Or you're not Alex Cooper, you're Alex. Never mind, this isn't yours. There's too many Alexes in this class. I got to figure them all out. I can now collect this or your math journal. So starting on page 10, I will know that you should have your class notes written in here. So you should have, at a minimum, the notes that we write down together in the class, and probably more than that, because as you're working with the groups, you're going to be jotting stuff down. Feel free to use all the space on the page. You don't, this space at the bottom is open, this space at the top is open. Keep it organized, though. Highlighters up at the front, highlight as much as you want, but don't highlight everything, because then it means nothing. So in the definitions, you might highlight little pieces that are important to you. Yeah, questions before we dive in? Okay.
One is to use the toolkit for school
Class notes.
and then the homework is
And then math journal, if you run out of space here for notes, do not go onto the right page. It moves on to the next lesson. So if you run out of space here, you got to go into the math journal and keep writing stuff. So your math journal is your extra space for notes, and then all of your practice. All of your practice should be in your math journal, okay? Which is those review and preview, those homework assigned problems. If you have any questions, I'll be coming around. I want to release you guys for at least 15 minutes. I don't want to talk whole class again until 10:20. So that's my goal. So have at it, guys. Please try to be as productive as possible. Stay on task. Facilitator, you've got a big role here trying to keep 7th graders on task. And task manager, that's also partially your responsibility. Have at it, guys. Play with probability. Oh, sorry. I need to say one more thing so I don't have to jump in later. We physically don't have enough blocks to give you another bag. So really quickly, look at 77. It says, imagine that you have another bag and combine it, and then it says, now do it. You're not going to be able to do it. You're just going to have to keep imagining, keep acting like you have another bag. But when we give you another bag, it will be identical. So again, 10 more blues, 8 more, it would be identical to what you had. So ask me if you have questions. Aside from that, start rolling.
Okay. So, if you want to have the best chances of getting a red gumball from a gumball machine, is it better if the machine is full of gumballs or half empty? How do the chances of getting an 8 in a deck of playing cards change if you have 3 or 4 decks of cards to choose from instead of only one deck? In this lesson, you will think about the size of the sample space, the collection of all
Hey, so I'm
possible
really going to shut up for a while. I got to rush really quick. Mrs. Goldring's going to keep an eye on you, but you guys are just doing your thing. So see how much you can get done.
I've got two of them. Oh god, the same question. The collection of all possible outcomes of an event. Think about these questions as you work today. How has the whole or total changed? How has the portion or part we are interested in changed? Has the event become more or less likely?
You're not supposed to make the bad conversation. Good conversation.
Yeah. Your team will be given a bag containing a set of colored balls or counters. Each team will receive a bag that is identical to yours. Ian, give us back the bag. A. Look at the blocks in your bag. If you were to reach into the bag and select one block without looking, what is the likelihood that it would be red, blue, green, or orange?
Blue. We have to count how many of what?
The yellow. Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 oranges.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
How many blues?
10.
2 oranges. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 reds.
4 red. Yeah. And 8 green.
Okay, so now we're ready.
Okay, so if we reached into the bag and pulled one out, what would we be likely to pull it? That has the most, right? How many balloons? 10. Not 4. That only has 2. Either blue or green.
Well, blue would have the most. Well, I pulled blue, remember? And you just pulled blue. So yeah,
Yeah.
blue. No, we write that in our
Notes here and here until you run out of space.
Same difference.
I know, I was so confused.
Same difference. That's not the same.
It's different, but it's used for the same thing. Same, different.
But same difference would be like,
I don't care.
oh, I'm gonna be silly.
Yeah, you're terrible.
Oh, wow.
Everyone can turn their cheek down. For free. drive.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. But out of the
Two
three
letters,
of us,
yeah.
two. So.
Oh, God. Why did I desperate my A?
Okay. Oh, there's a. Yeah.
Do your answers for part A represent? Do your answers for part A represent theoretical or experimental probability? That's what you're looking for.
176.
No.
Experimental.
Oh. Because we did theoretical first, and then we were separate answers. Experimental first.
Yeah.
Couple things as you're checking if you have written in your notes what they should look like. Are you using proper probability notation, P of events? And then there's something weird about 175. Anybody identify what's weird about 175? Alex?
That it says orange.
Now it says orange. Why is that an issue?
Because there are none.
So if we talk about the probability of an event that there are none, let's say orange is, it tricks your brain out. I wrote orange with the color yellow. So what would we say the probability is? 0. Still out of, 24. So be careful. Your probabilities, I believe, actually, let's do this. I have name cards. So, Alex, funny enough, you were on top of that stack.
Okay.
So, Mina, what'd you get for the probability of red? 4 out of 24, which could be reduced, but we do not have to. Blue, Oliver, what'd you get for that? Dude, what have you been doing? Ah, okay, so did I. I get it. Alana, what'd you get for blue? So I've got cards now, I just randomly go through. 10 out of 24. That's why we can't have extra bags to give you. There's not enough blue blocks. And Sky brings back, what's the probability of green? 8 out of 24. Now, any of these are reducible. You do not have to. Sorry, I forgot to. There we go, on red. They are reducible. You do not have to. Yeah. Should be 24 unless you're missing some blocks in your bag. Let me check. But it should be 24. Yeah. Yeah. So those are red. We ran out of red. Sorry, those are red. Sorry, that I didn't realize he.
Because you have those. It's still 24.
You're right.
So orange.
Count yellow in all our probabilities. There are yellow, but when it asks you probability of orange, like if we asked you probability of yellow, it'd be 2 out of 24.
Blue is still the most. Right?
It still
Yeah.
exists. We just didn't ask you.
Okay, guys, stop.
Yeah. You don't have to. You can convert to decimal percent if you want. Don't have to. Now, obviously, you'll be writing a bit smaller than I end up writing on here. Last thing, then you guys are totally on your own again. Zach, can you talk to me about whether that is theoretical or experimental? How do you know it's theoretical? We did what? We haven't done anything. All we did was observe. So, keep moving, but that is 75. You should have all that written down. And then for part B, that it was theoretical because we just observed or we didn't do anything is also your justification. Which is nice. If you want to have a nice, simple job, become a theoretical physicist or whatever else, and you just sit and think. You don't actually do.
Okay, now we're on 176.
What? If would it really be out of, if it's out of 24 and it's because of the yellow that we can't count the 0 oranges, then wouldn't we have to still count the yellows then instead of just the full? Like, okay, so now it's out of 24.
Yeah.
But if we're not counting yellows, it'd be out of 22, but we can't just take them out. So then, okay, so is equals yellow.
That's not what they're asking. They're asking about green, blue, red, and orange, not yellow. Totally. We can't take them out.
Okay, go. 176. You were just like one block from the back 12 times. Place a block. Two section. How many of those times did you have sweat?
Hold on. Hold on. We're not done.
What's up?
Just waiting for them to finish one.
Okay. I'm done. Okay.
Only read it.
Go on. We're all caught, right?
Come on.
That's important.
You know Rolex made a watch 29 out of 35.
Whoa. Can't just throw around on right. Back it up.
Like a luxury.
What's your husband?
Okay. What are you talking about 50% for?
Okay. They're an A. No, there's not. If you were to select one ball in the bag,
Oh,
oh,
there.
How many would you expect?
Now be careful because you just said
Out
around
of 20.
and then multiplying with an approximate number. So check. Does 5 12s come out to be like, I would check the divisions again. The calculator is right here if you want, but I would not just use the 1 12 because since you round that number, every number you use that number to get to will be rounded, but multiply the rounding. You know what I mean? If you go from 1 12 to 8 12, the rounding of the 1
that's
12
exactly what we
gets
did.
multiplied by 8 when you jump up there. So it can create a bigger gap.
No, hey, you just counted it. I didn't eat it. You just counted it. Now we just go to 5 around the 24. 10 divided by 24 is less than 24.
So you're saying the 10 12 that you probably only need, or 10 24.
No, these are all not.
So I can call that 42. But that's pretty far away to go to 50.
It's in our head.
I would not call that.
No factor. Not okay.
Then it'll be less than that.
No.
So then back that up with another mathematical test. I love your thinking. You're on the definite right track. We want to test it also. So if we know that blue will come up 42% of the time, then calculate what would 42% of those trials give you. And it might be the same thing. If it is, then you know your thinking was like, brush your shoulders all the time.
Hey, you know Rolex, right?
No, never heard of it. I like when people ask questions and then you give them an answer they
She
don't
just said
want.
she's never heard of it. So.
Yes, it's a watch company. I used to sell watches
Oh,
at Macy's.
I found out the other day that that they made a watch that went 35,000 feet underwater.
I mean, all you have to do is like pressure seal it. So the 5th-year wedding anniversary theme is wood. So my wife got me this for our wedding anniversary. To 5 down forever to go. So I'm making her a copy too. It's the school guy.
My dad made my mom for their wedding gift a table, but it was like she loves chess, and it was a table, but it had a chessboard.
Nice, yeah, and like.
And then she put a water glass on top of it and smoked the water.
You need help?
So 60% is for red for 12.
What?
Guys, all you have to do is everything. 28.4.
It's exactly the same.
Look,
So this is like imagine actually good. So imagine you double your bag, then actually double your bag. So now how many
you
blue
see
are
what I
there?
mean? So it says 12
Yeah,
times.
I know.
So look,
You haven't doubled your bag twice. You only doubled your bag once. So here, because your class is a little bit smaller, we could think of this. Now don't actually combine them for anything for later, but this would now be your bag. Because you've got a second bag.
Yeah, but would we have to double the percentage?
No, they said imagine.
We have to double the
You
percentage.
didn't do it. Whoever said imagine in your mind is I was like, then B is get it and do it. Okay?
Now we have 48.
Exactly. Alright, so I think most of us have made it past 76, so let's come back together and make sure that we're all agreed there. So May, if we look at if we were to select from the bag 12 times, and we are looking for blue. Now, some of us figured this out and other ones didn't. I'm going to give you a new formula, and I think it might be in your toolkit. But if we are trying to calculate an expectation, we kind of did this yesterday. Do you know how to do it? Maybe you want to take a stab at it? Did you guys make a guess for how many blue you would get? What'd you get? 5 is absolutely correct. Now, how did you get to it? Do you know? Okay. Okay. So, what we're doing, what Maida started talking about, is the probability of the event that we're talking about, which here is blue. So she said, okay, that's 10/24. I heard a couple different interesting ways to approach this. This is a little under half. So we'll get a little under half. If 6 trials would be half, then let's go with 5. Well, what we actually want to do is take this probability and multiply it by the number of trials. So we multiply it by 12. That's how we get to 5, which is our expected outcome. So you take the probability you know times how many trials you run to get to your 5. Now, Zinn had an interesting way of looking at it. He said 10/24 is less than 50%. He calculated it to be actually 42%. So he said, well, if 50% of the outcomes would be 6, then I'm just going to go less than that and say 5. And then I pushed him and I said, well, verify that with some math. Okay, 42% or 0.42 of the time it will be blue. How many times can it be blue? Well, it could be 12, right? That's how many trials we're doing. But if we just go off theory, the theory we have is 42%.
And we found out that when we multiply, the exact, well, actually got 23.9. Was it 6 or 9? You can get closer, I think. Okay. Like, what would you get is like 7, like
Yeah.
0.58 or something. Yeah, but we got like really close to 24 with 28.87 or something. Yeah, but it was we were doing 42, not 0.42. So
Yeah.
we did 0.50 something, and we got 0.57 was the closest. It was like really close, like 23.9.
Okay.
So
I might want to combine and look at what you guys were doing.
yeah.
But then really quickly, because I want to release you guys for the last like 5 minutes of class that you have to continue working. If we double the amount of trials that we take, and if you don't have some kind of formula like this written down, I would write this down, how we calculate an expected outcome. So this is really expected number of outcomes. We can do this again and just change how many times we do it or how many trials we have. Our probability does not change. That's still 10/24. But if I double the number of trials that I do, what will happen to the amount of blues I expect to get? Alex?
It'll probably be double.
It will probably double and come out to be 10. So try to take the last 5 minutes that you have and get through 77 and 78. We're going to bring this back together tomorrow. So the only time I'm going to interrupt you again is to tell you to pack up. So keep rolling.
So, I just read 5 blues, 4 green, 0 orange, right? Yeah.
Yeah, all we had to do
So what were you trying to do? How were you trying to get 24? Go back up.
What if you
I calculate the other side?
No, there's 3 more questions. No, there's 4. What if you drew 24 times?
There's one more question. And
Yeah,
that's
we
Wow.
just did that.
That's already
It's even up on the board.
That was the first thing we did. Okay, now 177.
But then you said 42. How close do you get 42 as a percentage? Like, what time is
Well, there's a lot of questions.
Now imagine you
I like how you guys are playing with the numbers. It's all good. I don't think you're really going down the route of probability. So you really want to use the theoretical probability that we have calculated. Because you're just like guessing and finding what numbers work. You really want to use the data given. So we use that 10/24, which is how we derive that percentage, that 42%. And we say, if I'm going to do this, let's say twice, 42% of those times, I'll get blue. So let me make this really easy. If 42% of the outcomes will be blue, and we do this 100 times, how many blues would you get?
You get a higher outcome of blue.
there's probably going to be even more times.
We do this 100 times,
Sure, red got up like
and we know the percent probability of blue is 42.
20. Wow.
I mean, 42 out of 100, right? 42% is 42 out of 100. That means you would expect blue to happen 2 times out of 100
So it's the
times.
same ratio.
So if we're trying to calculate
If you double it and double it and double
for
it,
a
it's still
different
going to
amount
be the
of
same
times,
ratio.
we can actually take that 42 out of 100.
Like, as an example, is like, take a Rubik's Cube, pretend the...
Hey, you guys aren't on topic.
No, we're...
No,
we
you're
are.
using it
Okay.
as an example.
I'm using
Alright.
an example. Take a Rubik's Cube.
If I have 42 out of 100, hey Zen, if I have 42 out of 100, that's 42%, right?
Okay?
But if I'm actually drawing 24 times, 24 trials, this needs to be 24. Now, approximately, to get here, I could divide by 4. It's going to be slightly over 4, but that's approximate. So approximately, I could divide by 4, and that gets me right about
As long as you
10-ish.
double it or triple it.
Right. And then
That's how we say 10 out of 24. This is what we expect. If you want to look at it another way, where you just take your percent.
that's kind of what we were doing. We were trying to what we
Yeah, in different ways.
because
So work 77 to 78. You want to come back to that idea. We only have a few minutes left.
I have to read all that.
This might be one of those I talked to you later about. This is how I want to get deeper in your brain.
That's the same ratio.
So just, so what are we going to say theoretically?
Notice that, well, you run out of space. Yeah. So, also, do you guys notice you write everything down? So, make a little note here. So class notes. You don't need to copy them all of it. So, if I collect your journal and I'm like, hey, where are your notes from today? And I use putting them on top.
Get a second bag for
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is part of your notes. Like that. I bet you'll like it when it makes your life easier. Now, I know you don't see it yet, but the whole point of this is so you're working on your homework.
how many blocks there is?
You have this here, your book, wherever, and then your notes are all so you can check your class notes. Instead of flipping back pages, you can just keep writing. And you have your book, the toolkit, everything out at the same time. That's why we're doing this. Sure, if you need to help yourself out, you don't need to write a note in there for me. I know. Like, I'm trying to catch transition right now. Now, if you run out of space for notes, then you're going to put them in your math. If you run out of space for notes in your toolkit, you're putting them in your math journal. Alright, so give me your attention. I only have like 30 seconds to wrap us up. We're going to pick this up tomorrow. 79 is pretty much an extension piece. It's an additional challenge, so if you want to go for it, I advise that you do go for it. I will be collecting either your math journal or your toolkit, one at a time most likely from now on. So once we go a few days, I'm going to check, are we taking decent notes? Once we have a couple homework assignments, I'm going to check, are we doing our homework? I'm also, as I release class to you guys and just let you work, going to probably start coming around, and since you'll be working in your toolkit, I can quickly just get a completion check on homework. Not checking question answers or anything, but just did you do it? So anticipate that tomorrow I might want to check last night's homework. Not 2 nights, but the 70 to 74, because I tell you, you get 2 school days to do it. So that would be due by tomorrow. So please try to have that done. So if I come around and I just get a quick completion check, you're ready. Remember, your toolkit and your journal are best friends. They should go everywhere together. Your book, not as tight in the relationship, because you can use the digital book. Have a great day, guys. Hasta luego. Please make sure you take all your things with you, including name tents.